Okay, so we're on to 1986 now. One thing though, before I do get onto the 86 movies, I've got View to a Kill, which was actually from 1985, and I forgot to add it on the last video. But yeah, this is obviously another Bond movie. Really enjoyed this one actually. I had the music by Duran Duran, proper quintessential 80s tune there. But yeah, I like that one. So that's A View to a Kill. Okay, so going on to 1986. This one we've got is right in the middle of there, Aliens. Shockingly, I've never seen Aliens. I've seen Alien, I've seen Prometheus and Covenant, and I've not actually seen any of the Alien original sequels. I did try and watch Aliens at one point, and I vaguely recall maybe watching it in school. It's very hazy, but yeah, for some reason I've never seen it, I don't think, all the way through. So obviously I need to get on that really urgently, because it's obviously a bona fide classic. So yeah, comment down below your hate for me for not watching Aliens by now, but there you go. Okay, next up I've got Little Shop of Horrors from obviously 1986. Absolutely love this film. There's certain musicals I really love, and this is one of them. I've seen it so many times. You got Rick Moranis there, John Candy there with a cameo, Steve Martin with a cameo, which is brilliant. But yeah, this is also the director's cut. It's got the original ending, which was actually changed because I think test audiences sort of didn't like it, I believe. But yeah, I've not got a problem with either ending, to be fair. But yeah, I do love this movie. Okay, next up we've got some Eddie Murphy in The Golden Child. Yeah, it's a good movie, Golden Child. I've not seen it for a long time. Obviously picked up the premium collection edition here, and I do need to give it another watch. But I remember enjoying it back in the day. It's probably like from the 80s was the last time I saw it. So yeah, I need to give that a watch really soon. Next one we've got some FX. This is film with Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy. Made a sequel as well, FX2, come out a couple of years later. But yeah, these about these guys that are sort of in the special effects business, and they sort of have, I think it's like a murder or something to solve. And I don't remember a lot about it. It's been a long time since I've seen them, but the good fun films. Next up, we've got Top Gun. Now, I like Top Gun. I've got to admit, it's not my most favourite 80s movie. I don't know what it was growing up. I've seen it maybe once or twice. There's just other movies that I prefer. And I'd never gravitated massively towards Top Gun, although it's a real sort of lads movie, but I don't know what it was. But yeah, I'll have to give it another watch. But I know the soundtrack's really, really good. I love the soundtrack. But yeah, that's Top Gun. Okay, next one we've got, well, I've got my John Hughes collection here, which we're going to talk about, obviously, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Pretty in Pink, which both from 1986. Not seen Pretty in Pink for quite a long time. Remember it being a good teen movie. But Ferris Bueller's Day Off, absolutely adore. I've seen that tons of times. Yeah, not much else to say about it really. Also on this set is Planes, Trains and Automobiles, which is obviously from 1987, and She's Having a Baby from 1988, I think it is, and Some Kind of Wonderful, I think, from 1987 as well, which I've not seen. I've not seen She's Having a Baby either. Absolutely adore Planes, Trains and Automobiles as well. It's one of the funniest comedies of the 80s. But yeah, it's a fantastic set if you can get your hands on it, this one. Next up, we've got a film I didn't actually realise it was from 1986 until I looked into it. And that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I picked this up for free on a free site on Facebook, and I'll be honest, I've not watched it yet. I've seen the original, which is pretty scary. This is probably not going to be much cut, but for free I was going to pick it up, and I say it turns out to be an 80s movie. It's got Dennis Hopper in, and he's pretty good, so we'll see what that's like. Next we've got DVD, we've got some more Care Bears. Got Care Bears Movie 2, the new generation. Nearly said next generation then. I don't remember this one. It's Care Bears really, isn't it? What can you say? But yeah, I picked it up for the collection. Next one is a film I've seen loads of times again, and that's Whoopi Goldberg Jumping Jack Flash. Probably my favourite Whoopi Goldberg movie. Yeah, as I say, seen this lots of times. Yeah, it's pretty underrated, but it's very, very funny comedy if you can run this one out. Next up, we've got Highlander, Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. Not seen Highlander for a long time. I do remember enjoying it. And ashamedly to say, I do actually don't mind the sequel as well, although it gets loads of hate. Maybe if I give it another watch, I'll know why. But I remember thinking at the time I didn't mind it. But the first one's, yeah, it's quality 80s movie. That's Highlander. Next, I've got a film I only saw last year. That was House. Yeah, this really surprised me. It was really good sort of 80s horror film, really. Not particularly massively scary, but it was just a fun time. And yeah, I've got the sequels to this, which I'm yet to check out yet. But yeah, House was pretty good. Next up, another one I've not seen, which I need to get onto. That's Peggy Sue Got Married. I believe this might be Robert Zemeckis. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's obviously kind of a time travel movie, which again, being such a time travel fan, I don't know why I've not seen this, but yeah, I'll put this to one side and get this watched pretty soon. Well, yeah, we got some early Nicolas Cage in there as well. Next up, we got a film I saw back in October for the first time. That's The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer. This was a fantastic horror movie or scary movie or whatever you want to call it, thriller. Yeah, got this lad that just picks up a hitchhiker basically, who turns out to be a complete psycho. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It's worth checking out. I know it had a remake a few years ago, which is probably rubbish, but yeah, if you can find the original, check it out. Next up, another one I've not seen. Jeff Daniels, Melanie Griffith, Something Wild. Picked this up in a charity shop not too long ago. Don't really know anything about it other than it was an 80s movie, so I thought I'd pick it up. So that's one to check out in the future. Next, I've got The Name of the Rose with Sean Connery. I think Christian Slater's in this film. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he is. He's a young Christian Slater, but I don't know much about it. But yeah, picked this up in a charity shop not long ago as well. Again, added to the collection. Next up, we've got Big Trouble in Little China with Kurt Russell. Don't mind this film. It's a bit like Top Gun for me, this. Although it's loads of people love it, has never gravitated towards it massively in the 80s. Probably other films I enjoyed more, but again, another one I need to give another watch to. But yeah, I know it's really 80s movie, and it got some cool martial arts, and it's quite funny. But it just wasn't something I really gravitated to, as I say. But yeah, that's Big Trouble in Little China. Next one, we got the original Fly with Jeff Goldblum. I've not seen the Fly 2. That's from 1989, I believe. I only watched The Fly back in October as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually. I think it was put off because I thought it'd be really, really scary. I do enjoy the original Fly from the 50s. I do actually have this on a box set with, like it's in the shape of the sort of chamber. Well, I need to dig that out, but yeah, and it's got all the old Fly films. But yeah, this wasn't a bad horror movie. Okay. Next, we've got some of Stallone with Cobra. Don't remember a lot about Cobra. He was throwing out a lot of these action movies in the 80s. Tango and Cash, I think, being another one from 1989 that's on there. Yeah, probably need to give it another watch. I think he made this film when he didn't get the Beverly Hills Cop part, if I remember rightly. I might be wrong about that. But yeah, that's Cobra. Next up, we have got some Arnie in Raw Deal from 1986. Raw Deal's probably my least favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Probably seen it only about once or twice. Also on this set though, we've got obviously Total Recall from 1990, but we've got Red Heat there from, I think it's 88. Which I do enjoy Red Heat. Red Heat was good, but yeah, Raw Deal's probably one of his weaker ones. Maybe need to give it a rewatch now, see if I might like it, but wasn't really a big fan. Next one, we got some Chuck Norris in Firewalker. I don't remember much about this either. I picked this up in a 101 sale a few months ago. Vaguely recall it being alright, but I say it's been a long time since I've seen it. Definitely in the 80s, but yeah, that's Firewalker. Next one, we got a comedy classic I do love and I've seen loads of times again. That's Three Amigos. Martin Short, Chevy Chase again, and Steve Martin. Yeah, these guys that are basically actors, and they get summoned to a town to help out the town against these bandits, and they just think they're putting on a show as actors, but they think that they're real sort of, well, amigos, so to speak, and I think they'll run off these bandits from town, and it's not actually going to work out that way. But yeah, it's a very, very funny film. If you've not seen Three Amigos, check that out. Next, we've got another film I've mentioned loads on this channel, and that's Transformers the movie. Yeah, love this film. I don't want to really speak about it for much longer, but yeah, it's probably my favourite animated film besides anything Disney of all time. Kicking soundtrack. Yeah, love it. Next, we've got a steelbook here of Howard the Duck by George Lucas. This is a very strange film. I remember enjoying it in the 80s though. On recent rewatches, it's yeah, it's not the greatest film in the world, but it's a bit of fun, and yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's got Leah Thompson in it, but yeah, that's Howard the Duck. Next, we've got some war movie, and that's Platoon. Not seen Platoon for a long time, but it is a very good Vietnam film. You've not seen it, you got Charlie Sheen in there. Definitely worth checking out. I don't know if it might have won some sort of Oscars, can't really remember. But yeah, that's Platoon. Next up, got some animated film with American Tail. Not seen American Tail since the 80s either. Don't remember much about it, but yeah, I think Don Bluth film is, I think, the guy that made The Land Before Time, which is another one I need to pick up. I think that the first one of those was in the 80s. But yeah, that's American Tail. Next one, we got Lavarim, a bit of obviously Jim Henson, Jennifer Connelly, David Bowie, classic film from the 80s. I do remember really liking this growing up, and yeah, I need to upgrade this one to Blu-ray. Actually, it's one of those that I definitely want to upgrade to Blu-ray. That's Labyrinth. Next is a comedy with some Danny DeVito and Bette Midler, Ruthless People. This is a very underrated and very, very funny film. It's something I've seen quite a lot of times. But this guy's basically his wife gets kidnapped and he doesn't really give a toss. And he's trying to he wants her to actually get killed off when the kidnappers are like threatening to kill her, but actually he really doesn't care. And it's she basically ultimately sort of gets her own back on him, but it's a very, very funny film. Anyway. Next up, we've got Crocodile Dundee, and also this Crocodile Dundee 2. Yeah, these are the films that introduced, obviously, Paul Hogan to us, and introduced America to Australia, I believe. I don't know if they ever knew it existed before then. But, yeah, you also got the sequel there from, I think, from 89 as well. Really enjoy these films. Probably my dad's favourite film is Crocodile Dundee 1. It's one of those that he can actually quote almost word for word. He knows it all back to front. But not so much myself, but I do enjoy it. They're good films. I'm looking forward to picking these up on Blu-ray at some point. Next up, we've got Short Circuit with Johnny Five and Steve Guttenberg. Yeah, I do honestly prefer the sequel to Short Circuit more than Short Circuit, but Short Circuit is a good film. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen it. I've seen the second one more, but yeah, it is a good film. I do want to pick this up on Blu-ray as well as going forward. Next up, we've got another film I've not seen called The Mission. Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons. I'd be honest, I don't know anything about it. I picked this up in a charity shop again to add to the collection. I don't know if it's really my thing, but yeah, maybe we'll check that out sometime. Next one we've got is Manhunter, which I believe is something that ultimately inspired the Silence of the Lambs, and it's Hannibal Lecter related. Other than that, I don't know too much about it. I think it maybe Red Dragon, but in the 80s. I'm not sure. Comment down below if you know more about Manhunter, but yeah, there it is. And we've got some more Rutger Hauer here with Wanted Dead or Alive. Picked this up in a free job lot recently. It's added to the collection. It's not one I've seen, but yeah, I do enjoy Rutger Hauer. He's pretty good, and he made quite a few good films in the 80s and early 90s. Wine Fury one coming up in 89, I think that I do particularly enjoy. Okay. Next one, we got a film called The Big Easy with Dennis Quaid. No, absolutely nothing about this other than it was an 80s film, and again, it was another one I picked up in a charity shop not too long ago, but it's added to the collection. Again, no idea if it's my kind of thing, but yeah, that's The Big Easy. Next up, we've got Space Camp. Now, I do enjoy this film. I remember watching this growing up. These kids that basically go into space, and you got a very young Joaquin Phoenix there, when he was known as Leaf, and Leah Thompson. But yeah, these kids basically go into space, and it's just like an adventure, but it's good fun. Worth checking out. You don't really see it around very often these days. And the final one from 1986. Got some more Chevy Chase with Dan Aykroyd in Spies Like Us. This is another film I've seen so many times. Very quotable film. Yeah, and it's one I want to pick up on Blu-ray. I don't know if it has a UK Blu-ray release though, sadly. But yeah, I love this film. And yeah, that's the end of 1986. On to next year, on to 1987. Okay, so we're on to 1987. First up, not my favourite horror film of all time, and that's The Lost Boys. It's more of a sort of horror comedy, but yeah, I absolutely love The Lost Boys. You've seen this again, one of these I've seen countless times. Got the two Corries in there, Keith Sutherland, Jason Patrick. Yeah, fantastic movie. Highly recommend it if you've not seen The Lost Boys. Need to get onto it. I'm looking forward to bringing out a 4K of this, I believe, this year as well. Next up, we've got another movie I absolutely love, and that's Inner Space with Dennis Quaid and Martin Short. Pretty unrated film, this. I don't know if a lot of people have seen it nowadays. It's basically kind of a remake of the Fantastic Voyage from the 60s. This guy basically gets injected into this guy, and he's like in a little spaceship, and he's like travelling around his body. It's better than it sounds, but yeah, it's a very funny film, and it's yeah, a great movie. Next up, we've got Dirty Dancing. Yeah, not seen Dirty Dancing loads. In fact, I probably saw it for the first time, not in the 80s, but probably about 10, 15 years ago. It's not a bad movie. It's probably not really my thing, but I tried it to the collection anyway. I picked this up for like about 50p. So next up, we've got some Wall Street with Michael Douglas. I've never actually seen this movie. I do own the sequel as well. Maybe to need to do a double watch, with both of them. But yeah, for some reason Wall Street sort of passed me by. I don't know if I was major interested in it in the 80s, but yeah, I picked this up again, probably in a charity shop for a quid or so. So I do need to check this one out. Next up, one of my favourite 80s movies, and that's Robocop. Yeah. What can you say about Robocop? It's one of the best, again, sci-fi movies of all time. Paul Verhoeven, who else would do things like Total Recall. Yeah, I've seen this loads of times growing up, and yeah, it's a classic. Next one, got some Kevin Costner and Gene Hackman, No Way Out. Never seen this movie, don't really know much about it. Gene Hackman obviously doesn't really do many bad films, and Kevin Costner's pretty good as well, so maybe I need to check this out. It's probably some kind of thriller, I believe. But yeah, I picked it up for the collection. Next up, we've got Witches of Eastwick. I have seen this one. It was a long, long time ago. Jack Nicholson and Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, I remember it being a kind of a black comedy. And other than that, I don't remember a lot about it, but I need to give it a rewatch. I've had this in the collection for a long time. Next up, we've got Harrison Ford in Frantic. This is a good movie. It reminds me of something recent times was made. Was it Unknown with Liam Neeson, where he loses his wife. It's going to kind of very similar to that. Well, obviously this was done first. Yeah, I need to give this a rewatch soon. Actually, it's a good one. Next up, we've got some early Bruce Willis with Kim Basinger in Blind Date. This is just like the worst blind date you can ever have, basically, from what I remember. It's been a long, long, long time since I've seen this movie. I don't really get talked about very much. But yeah, I think he made this obviously before he made Die Hard, when he was sort of coming off Moonlighting and still doing comedy. But yeah, that's Blind Date, and there's no Scylla in sight. Next, we've got some more Steve Martin with Michael Caine, Date on Scoundrels. Really enjoy this movie. They remade it a few years ago. I think it was The Hustle with what's the name? Rebel Wilson, which is pretty awful. But yeah, this is the original. If you want to see a decent film of that ilk, this is one to watch. It's very, very funny. Next up, we've got some Dolphin Gun Master of the Universe. This is one of those real guilty pleasures. It's a He-Man movie, but it could have been done so much better. But I do actually enjoy this one. What it is, it's just a fun time, really. It's probably nothing really like the cartoons, but yeah, I do enjoy it. It's quite good. Next up, we've got the war movie called Hope and Glory. I know nothing about this one. I don't know. I want to say it's British, but I might be wrong. Picked this up again in a charity shop recently. But yeah, maybe I'll have to give that one a watch. Next up, we've got some Eddie Murphy live in Raw, a bit of his stand-up. Yeah, not really seen it, but we'll give it a whirl sometime. Next up, we've got Robert Williams, Good Morning Vietnam. This is a good one. I saw one of those. I also used to think it was never as good as they made out, though. Robin Williams is great, but I think he made better movies, to be fair. But yeah, Good Morning Vietnam. Next up, another Nicolas Cage movie, which I've not seen, which is Raising Arizona. I need to get onto this one. Pick this one up only recently as well. Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be a good movie, so yeah, I need to get onto that one. Next up, one I do remember from the 80s, and that's Bigfoot and the Hendersons, or Harry and the Hendersons, as it used to be called. It's good fun family film. I don't remember a lot about it, but yeah, you can see there it's basically this family that runs into Bigfoot, and I think his name's ultimately Harry. But yeah, that's Bigfoot and the Hendersons. Next up is another 80s film which I really love, and that's Inventing Babysitting. Seen this one tons of times. I spoke about it before on the channel in one of my other videos. Yeah, Elizabeth Shue, Night on the Town, which is what it was also ultimately called. And yeah, so chaos ensues, and it's yeah, it's a great time. They did remake it, I think, on Disney Plus, which is I'm afraid to even look at. But yeah, this one's great. Next up, we got some more Steve Martin. He was knocking them out of the park in the 80s, and this was Roxanne. It's kind of Cyrano de Bergerac story. And yeah, it's a fun time. There's one particular scene. He's basically got a big nose, and he's in a bar where this guy just taking the mickey out of him, and I think he says, "You throw a dart at the dartboard, and whatever number you get, I'll come out with a better jibe than like Big Nose or something." And he basically hits a 20, but Steve Martin does 20 better jokes than Big Nose, and just it's this fantastic scene. And it's a good movie. He's made better films, but yeah, I do enjoy Roxanne. Next up, we've got Unsociables. This is one of the few sort of gangster movies that I actually like and I've actually seen. Kevin Costner. I've not seen it for a long time, but I need to watch it again. And I want to pick it up on Blu-ray. But yeah, this is a fantastic film with like Al Capone and all that. Great film. Next up, we got some more Bond. We got Living Daylights. First one of the Timothy Dalton Bonds. Need to get this on Blu-ray as well. But yeah, this one I do like the song as well with from a-ha, but this is quite an underrated one. But I think it's a pretty good Bond movie. Next up, we got a Spielberg film. It's Empire of the Sun with a very young Christian Bale. Not seen this movie. I do need to check this out. I would want to do a video in the future of all the Spielberg films that I've not actually seen and have a watch of them and tell you what I think. And this is one of them. So keep an eye out for that in the future. Next up, we've got something I only saw a few years ago, not at the time, and that was A Princess Bride, or The Princess Bride. It's a funny film, but I think this is one that I would have benefited more if I'd had seen in the 80s. For some reason, it never really interested me. Despite the fact it's got Andre the Giant in it, and I was a big wrestling fan. But yeah, it's a good movie, but I think I would have preferred it if I'd watched it in the 80s or been a bigger fan. But yeah, that's The Princess Bride. Next up, we've got some Mickey Rourke in Angel Heart. I don't know anything about this. This is one I picked up recently in the charity shop. Yeah, don't know anything about it, but it's an 80s film. Next up, we got some Arnie in Running Man. Love this film. It's another one that's got so many quotes in it and catchphrases that, yeah, it's a great movie. If you've not seen Running Man, check it out. It's up there with Predator and Commando. Speaking of Predator, we've got the Predator trilogy here with the original Predator, which is still the best. Don't mind Predator 2. That Predators surprised me, it was okay. But the other movie they made recently, The Predator, I thought was absolutely awful. But yeah, going back to the original, it's a fantastic action movie. I've seen that loads of times. Yeah, probably saw that a lot before I was 18 as well, but never mind. Next one, some Michael J. Fox, Secret of My Success. I love this movie. yeah, it's he made a few films besides obviously Back to the Future. Teen Wolf and this being my favourites. It's about a guy that sort of comes from the country, gets a job in the in an office in the tower block and that, and yeah, sort of gets his way to the top, and it's just fun. It's just a fun time. It's got good 80s music in it as well. Next up, we've got a 3-pack here with a couple of 80s movies. One from 87, that's Overboard with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. I have seen this, I don't remember anything about it. It's been a long time since I saw that. And also there's When Harry Met Sally. Again, that's another one. I have seen it years ago. I don't remember much about it, but picked up this this 3-pack, so I've got them in the collection. Next up, we've got one I've seen a lot, and that's Three Men and a Baby. Yeah, I really enjoy this movie, and the sequel's quite good as well. It's yeah, it's just good fun family movie, worth checking out if you've not seen it. Next up, yet another one I've seen tons of times. That's Mannequin. This got us a lot of hate in the. I remember in the papers they all seem to rate this really low. But what do they know? I think this is great fun action comedy, romantic comedy really. Kim Cattrall and G.W. Bailey out of the Police Academy movies, basically playing Harris, I would say. But yeah, really like Mannequin. Next up, my favourite Mel Brooks movie, and that's Spaceballs. I need to pick this up on Blu-ray or 4K going forward. Absolutely love this film. Again, I've seen this tons and tons of times. Yeah, it's one of my all-time favourites. Yeah. Next up, we've got some Stallone in Over the Top. He's basically an arm wrestler. This is kind of another sort of guilty pleasure movie. Not seen it for quite a long time, but being quite fun. And yeah, that's Over the Top. Next up, what I've not seen, that's Throw Mama from the Train with Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito. And I think the late old lady from the Goonies is in this as well, playing the mama. But I've not seen this movie. I need to get onto it. I don't know why it's never really gravitated towards it, but it is supposed to be pretty good. So yeah, we'll check that out soon. Next up, we've got a war movie, Full Metal Jacket. I've never seen this either. And shockingly, need to get onto this. I believe it's very good. I remember there was a song in the 80s that was something about a drill instructor that was in the charts. So that's all I sort of remember about it, really. But yeah, I need to get onto that one. Next up, we've got Fatal Attraction, Michael Douglas, Glenn Close. Yeah, it's a good thriller. I've probably only seen this once, but yeah, it's sort of fondly remembered for the old boiling of the bunny. But yeah. Next up, we've got the original Lethal Weapon, and you could say Lethal Weapon 2 as well. I prefer Lethal Weapon 2 to the first one. It's the good action movies. It's just not my favourite sort of genre. If I was going to go back to one more often than not, it'd be the second one. But yeah, Lethal Weapon is not a bad franchise. I believe they're making another one going forward as well. Next up, we've got Charlie Sheen in No Man's Land, which I believe is about stealing cars. I've never seen it. It's got Randy Quaid in there as well, but I believe it's supposed to be quite good. I picked this one up again in a charity shop. Next, we've got House 2, mentioned earlier. I saw House and only recently, and yeah, I remember that being pretty good, so we'll see what House 2 is like going forward. Next up, we've got With Neil and I. I believe it's a British film. I don't really know anything about it. I believe it's supposed to be good. Picked this up on a charity shop again recently and just added to the collection, but I don't really know anything about it. Same with this one, I Wish You Were Here with Emily Lloyd, who's the daughter of Trigger, Roger Lloyd Pack. Remember this being out in the 80s, but I was probably too young to see it. I don't really know much about it, but yeah, I picked it up in a charity shop. Next one is another Tom Cruise movie from the 80s that I've not seen. The list is probably getting bigger. I've probably seen Top Gun, that's about it. The Colour of Money was Paul Newman. It was supposed to be a good film. I do actually have the Hustler, which I believe this was a sequel to as well. I've not seen that either. We need to do a watch with both of those. Next up, another film I haven't seen, really should have done. A family movie, Badges Not Included. I believe this is a great movie. I don't know why this passed me by, but I need to get onto this really urgently. I've been saying that for a long time, but yeah. I believe it's supposed to be a fantastic family movie, so I need to get onto that. Next up, we've got Hellraiser. Now, I did actually have the Arrow box set of Hellraiser. I picked it up quite cheap, and I wasn't really a fan. And I traded it back in again, but without even watching the sequels, because I'll be honest, I watched Hellraiser, didn't really like it, but I picked this up as part of 4 for £1, so I got the original movie in the collection. It's great thing is it's probably the best of the 3 or 4 or 5, however many there is. But yeah, I just got it for the collection. Next up, we've got Stakeout with Emilio Estevez, Richard Dreyfuss. Underrated sort of action comedy. Don't remember much about it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it is a good fun time. If you've not seen it, it did spawn a sequel, another Stakeout. I think early 90s. And finally, in 87, we've got some Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd, Tom Hanks. And again, another Tom Hanks sort of comedy. This is a fun film. I've not seen it for a long time either, but I did see it growing up in the 80s. And I just remember it being just a good fun time. It's based off an old 60s TV show. And yeah, that's 1987. On to the next year.